Okay, right. So yeah, Maru, last lecture's recording was uploaded. Just check your LMS, it's there. Okay. Anyway, today after doing the cover letter and the resume, today we are going to do another writing activity to learn how to write down memos. Okay. These are called as memos or memorandum. And with this memo, we are going to highlight a quality of good writing, which is to be clear. Okay. Now, what are memos or memorandum? Memorandums are letters, emails for internal communication. Okay. Now, what is internal communication? Internal communication is the communication within the organization, right? So if I give you the example of SPK, if the VC has to tell us anything, she's going to send a memo or memorandum to all the departments. Okay. Or if we have to get the date of your examination from our examination or evaluation section, that is also done through memorandum. So this is internal communication. These days, this internal communication can take place in two ways. Okay. And here at SPK, we are following the older pattern in a way that still we keep on receiving internal communication in hard. Otherwise, most of the time, this internal communication among the staff members of any organization takes place through emails in soft. Okay, but the pattern remains the same, be it the email or be it the hard paper. Memorandum comes with a specific format, and what we need to learn is that particular format. Once you know the format, then whatever has to be put in, you can do that. Now, how memorandum is different from the rest of the official documents? The first characteristic of memorandum is that memorandum is the shortest form of communication. Okay. It has to be. That is why it would highlight the characteristic of good writing as of being clear. So when you are required, when it is the need of the document, okay, this is the shortest document, you would say, shortest official documents for internal communication is memorandum. So when you know that you have to communicate with very few words or the fewest of the words, then you need to be very, very clear about it. Okay, so it has to be simple, it has to be very, very clear, right? We would see some examples of difficult memos also, and we are going to try to correct those. But before that, we would practice simply writing a memorandum. Okay, so I am showing you the pattern. You don't have to, this has been given as an example of the format of memorandum, right? This is the format of memorandum, but here the language is a bit difficult. Okay, and this is not an example of a good memorandum. We can take the format from this memorandum, but we cannot follow the kind of words that I use. Now, when you are asked to be concise, it doesn't mean that you become vague in your expression or you become obscure. Now, this obscurity or vagueness, it comes from using of words or expressions that might be difficult to understand. Okay, so here, while I would be giving you a memorandum to write, and that would be a part of your assignments, ongoing assignments that you are doing, you would do that. But we would just discuss that why this memorandum isn't a good memorandum. Okay. Now, The memorandum is, I told you that it is internal communication, so it is for all the employees and from the supervisor and the subject. So the three things you need to write here, okay? And after the subject, you can even put the date, right? So we are going to do two activities. One is you are going to write a memorandum. I'll give you a topic about it. And the second is you are going to correct this memorandum also. Correction is required not in the format. I am telling you again, the format is fine. Okay. You need to write down four things. You have a date also here. You need to say who is sending it, from whoever it is coming from, and the subject, and then the date, right? Let me add some of your class fellows. Okay. Now, this memorandum is not comprehensible because, the person who has written this might be trying to impress the readers, but with this intention, he actually gets vague, okay, and not understandable by the employees. The experimental process of making available a variety of liquid refreshments on the honor system is undergoing reconsideration. In the event that employees who appropriate these refreshments without leaving the proper remuneration do not terminate these activities, the refreshments will be eliminated in future. Okay, so you see that it is not clear in the first reading. It doesn't become clear. Okay, we'll get back to this one later on, but what I would like you to look at, let me share another screen with you. Okay, so we are going to practice memorandum writing, but before that I'll give you some of the basic points that will help you in writing a memorandum. Okay, and we would look at a good example of memorandum, and then we'll try to correct the bad example of memorandum in the same class. Right, just wait. Let me change your screen. Okay, so here we are. There are some people saying something in the chat. Okay. Let's talk about what is memorandum. I have already told you that memo is a note to a group of people telling them to do something, informing them about a new policy, or giving them any kind of information. As far as your own organization or your own university institution is concerned, we keep on getting different information of when the university is going to reopen, about the examination dates, about the online classes. All of this is communicated through memorandum. Okay. Yeah, some of the examples we can attempt those, but what you need to know is you have to make sure that there is a need of writing a memorandum. Okay, if there is any other way of communicating that would be good, but if there has to be a serious kind of communication, you need to communicate the message, then of course you have to write the memo. So your memo should convey all the information in the smallest amount of text possible. This is the basic characteristic, as I've already told you. Okay. Okay. You should also write down what do you want people to do. Okay. Is it only a piece of information, or you want them to do something? For instance, if when we were asked to start the online classes, so they demanded an action from us, that is commencement of the online classes. Okay, if there is a memo or message to submit the results, so the memo ask for an action, which is submission of the result. So this should be made very, very clear in the end. Sometimes some memos are only for information purposes and they do not require any kind of action. So it is better that you put this in the end, no action required, okay? It was only for your information, right? For instance, if something is introduced in the university, a new system, for instance, when CMS was introduced to us, so if it comes as only an information, then you can write that no action is required, so that people might not be wondering why they are receiving such a message. Okay, now this is an example. Pattern I've already shown you. This is an example of a good memorandum, but this is a kind of an informal one, right? Otherwise, when when there is an internal communication going on, you need to be very, very formal, okay? You do not say, hey, everyone, right? So this is by this person, Navela Madhura, all to all employees, need response by 5 today. That's the subject. Action to take, you can give it a separate heading. Reply to this email within your favorite, with your 3 favorite launch bars in Austin, right? So what is a memo about? From the very subject, you get to know what's the memo is about. Okay, this has to be the subject. Hey everyone, I'm not saying I'm taking you out to cool launch bar on Thursday night, but could you let me know what your 3 favorite launch bars are in Austin? If he doesn't even write this first sentence, this is okay for the memo, right? And sincerely. Now, we had a bad example of a memo. A memo can be, bad in many ways. Technically, because it is too long. Okay. The first characteristic, as I have already told you about a memo, is that memo is very, very short. If the memo is long, then there's something wrong. Okay. The other thing is that my memo has to be very, very simple. Right? Okay. Now, getting back to your previous slide, where I would only like you to look at this pattern. Just look at the pattern. You can give the date here, okay? And I'm giving you a topic. You're going to write a memo, right? Now let me go to your chat section. Okay, seeing this pattern, you're going to write a memo to inform all employees of SPKW that the university will resume its function or it will open on 15th September 20. Okay, so in this activity you're going to produce a memo which shouldn't be of more than 4 to 5 lines, right? One more thing is that preferably you start a memo like this is to inform you. Okay, so in the first line you write down the purpose. What do you want to say? Do you want to inform them? Do you want to ask them to take certain action? Or what do you want them to do? Okay, so it is to inform you. Yes, Adila, you just write it down now in 10 minutes and even less than that. I would just like to have few of them in the chat section, okay, so that we can share, and I have an idea that you have got what I'm telling you, right? So you have to follow this format, okay. Give a very concise kind of a subject, and then start the memo as this is to inform you, okay. And this is to all the employees from the Vice Chancellor. Let's put it this way. This is for all the employees from the Vice Chancellor. Okay, got it? Now, in the next 10 minutes, you should be doing it and you can post it here, right? And in the next activity, when you are done and still you have time, within the 10 minutes, you're going to read this one and find out the problems here, okay? Now let us move to another activity. Your subject is incorrect, Aisha. Maruf ka bhi subject correct nahi, I did not check. Now the subject should be reopening of SBKW. Okay, just correct your subjects. Maruf, you need to correct your subject. Aisha also needs to correct her subject, right? The subject should inform the employees. As soon as they look at the subject, they should know what might be the content of the memorandum. Okay, to inform you is not the subject. Here you would start it with this is to inform you. Okay, your memorandum would start with this is to inform you, and the subject would be reopening of SPKW Quetta. Got it? I hope you have got that, right? Now, looking at the memorandum that you are seeing on the screen, this is a good memorandum as far as the format is concerned, and its length. Okay, it's precise, it's concise, it's short. All of these are the characteristics of a good memorandum. But then there is a problem. Yes, Maru, this should be the subject. Okay. Yes, great. People, you can look at Adila Mehdi's work. She has shared in the chat section. This is correct. Okay, opening of universities. But basically, you are concerned with SPK, Adila. So reopening of SPKW would be a finer kind of a subject. Okay, but the rest of the things are fine, and people can, you know, look at this for a correct example. Right. Now, coming to another activity, I was telling you that this is absolutely a good memorandum as far as the format is concerned, and as far as its length, it's being concise and precise. It's a good one. But the problem is that you need to be clear. You need to be simple in your language so that your message is true. Okay. If whatever you're saying is difficult to understand, then you will not get the desired results. People would not understand, people would not do what you want them to say to do. Okay, now look at here. What are the difficult words here? Quickly go to the chat. There's some problems with the vocabulary. The person does not use simpler vocabulary. So what are the difficult words that you see here? Just go to the chat and write those down quickly. In 2 minutes, read this and write down the difficult words from here. The problem is with the vocabulary and also with the expression. Okay. quickly, what's the problem with this memorandum? Kiran Razak, you have done your first activity very, very correctly. Yes, see, Marok has identified, if you can see in your chat, remuneration. Okay, remuneration is a very formal kind of word. It means payment. Okay, yeah. Sadia also indicates that remuneration is a difficult word and people might not understand. It means payment. Okay, payment for in exchange of certain services or some services. Okay, appropriate, reconsideration. Okay, appropriate is means something that fits in well, and reconsideration to think again, right? So see, when you're unable to understand the words that are used in any of the memorandum, so how would you take the desired action, right? Now, what it actually tells you is that the experimental process of making available a variety of liquid refreshments on the honor system is undergoing reconsideration. Honor system is when people keep on taking things from the cafeteria or okay, Kiran, I got it. Eliminated means to remove. Anyway, coming back here, on honor system is when you keep on taking things and you pay it later on. Okay, and because the refreshments, liquid refreshments were provided to the employees on this system. They are rethinking about it because the employees did not pay. Okay, in the event that employees who appropriate these refreshments without leaving the proper remuneration, in cases where the employees were found to have these refreshments without paying for them, so these services will be terminated, means these services will be ended and the refreshment will be eliminated. The refreshment will be removed in the future. So basically, this memorandum informs the employees that they are getting refreshments on honor system on monthly basis payment, but if they do not or if they fail to make the payment on time, then this system would be reconsidered and this might be eliminated in future. Okay, in future it would be buying with the money at the same time. Okay, people would need to buy their liquid refreshments um, on cash payments and not on honor system. Okay, or not on monthly or weekly basis. So as they would get, they would pay. Got it? So this is what he wants to convey, and that pay as you drink. Do not leave the payment for the future. Okay, otherwise such refreshments will not be provided to the employees. I hope you got this. Let me check your chat section. Okay, yes, these are the difficult words. Kiran has indicated eliminated means remove, remuneration, appropriate, terminated is to end. Okay, now what I want you to do as your next activity is to make this, I would say, a bad example of a memorandum to a well-written memorandum, as you have learned right now. Okay, to use simpler words and just to convey the message. Now, when you would use even simpler words, your number of words would reduce. Okay, he has used many words, though it is short, still it can be even shorter, right? So the next activity that I would like you to do in the next who's this? Adila, please mute yourself. Okay, right? So you would be simplifying it in the next 10 minutes or less than that, and then we move to learning some of the vocabulary words which sound very similar. I mean, we would move to something else. So I would like you to post that in your chat section. You can follow this format, okay? There is no problem with the format. This is for all employees from the supervisor, and the subject is refreshment, okay? So you can carry on with, okay, carry on doing this activity, okay? Last thing that we would like to do in today's class related to the characteristic of good writing, has to be clear, is removing confusion among similar sounding words, okay? For instance, look here. These are the words that sound alike, and some other words that look alike also, okay? So sometimes your writing isn't clear because you use one word instead of the other, right? So I guess these are 20 words that we need to differentiate. So we would be doing just 5, and in activity number 8, today's third activity, you're going to make sentences of these, right? Now, accept is you receive, you accept a gift, for instance. And the sentences that I'm making for you, you're not going to repeat those in your submitted assignments, right? Accept, you accept a proposal, you accept a gift, you accept a present, okay? You accept the truth, right? So accept means when you receive. This accept means to exclude. Everyone is present in the class except the CR, okay? That means excluding the CR, everyone else is present in the class, right? Now, these two words, affect with A and affect with E, are really confusing, and oftentimes the mistake is committed by people who are really good at the language. Now, basically, you need to remember this, that affect with A is a verb, okay? And therefore, it can have tenses as well, affected, okay? The area was affected by the earthquake, okay? Or Beirut was affected by the blast, right? Now this affect with E is usually a noun, okay? For instance, I told you that Beirut was affected by the blast. The effects of blast on Beirut, effects of blast, effects. It can, since it's a noun, it can have its plural also, the effects of blast, okay? Now this complement with E is something that completes, right? Let me add, these are other people coming in, okay, right. Okay, I've got something from Adila in the chat section. Adila, it looks fine, right? Now our third word is complement, okay? This complement is with an E, means that something that completes, okay? When you see a nicer couple, you see that you just say that they complement each other. That is, they complete each other, right? Lecture complements your reading. That is, when you read something and you listen to the lecture also, they complete one another. Compliment is to praise. She keeps on getting compliments, okay? Praise means something you appreciate, you like, okay? Now the fourth word that you're going to do today is desert, desert, and this is dessert, There is a little difference in the pronunciation also, but they look like, for instance, Bahrain is a desert maybe. Saudi Arabia has many deserts, place which is very, very dry, without water. Okay. And dessert means the sweet dishes. Okay. I like to have desserts, or I like making desserts. And the last word for today that we would be doing is eminent. Eminent means someone who is popular. Okay. And imminent is what cannot be stopped, it happens. Okay. So eminent, anyone, you know, who is, Shakespeare is an eminent writer, for instance. He's a famous writer. Okay. Imminent is which you cannot stop would happen, right? Floods in Karachi as a result of rain are imminent. That is, whenever there would be rain, because their systems are not well in place, so the ultimate result would be floods, and those floods cannot be stopped, as we are seeing and witnessing right now. So floods as a result of rains in Karachi are imminent. Okay, it would happen anyway, right? Now what I want you to do as your 9th activity, which we would continue in the next class also, is to make the sentences that are different from my sentences, and sentences that are not in the dictionary. Okay, do not use dictionaries to find out the sentences. You may use dictionaries to help you out, but do not copy the sentences that are present there. Try to use these sentences of your own. Okay, so here I stop my class, because you would be doing, the class continues, but you would be doing these. So there is no need to stay online.